Hello and welcome to the Football Revolution. I'm your host, Gio. Thanks for joining us. We had the week off to rest and recharge, so let's get ready to rumble as we prepare to watch the Premiers Melbourne City clash with the Central Coast Mariners for the right to be crowned champions, and so much more to discuss. And joining me as usual is the Football Encyclopedia, my co-host, VIG. Hello, mate. How are you?
Are you ready to rumble?
Mate, we
I'm,
definitely know Bankstown United, your team's not ready to rumble, but I'm sure that hopefully these two teams will be.
yeah, hopefully. Look, it's a big week for both squads and both coaches, and yeah, it's just anticipation now leading into the final next weekend.
Mate, I don't know, go back 6-8 months, go back even the start of the final series. Are these the two sides you would have predicted to go through to the big dance?
Yeah, look, it would have been close to these two. They were probably top two all season. I think they've probably played the best football on a consistent basis throughout the whole year. So it's only fitting that they're the top two at the end of the day, the last two standing. So we're looking forward to it.
Mate, talking of City, Scott Jamieson will call time on his stellar career after the grand final, 375 A-League appearances later and winning numerous trophies. So it's been a fantastic shift from, I'm guessing he's still City captain. Even when he doesn't start, he'd still have the armband or at least lend it to someone else that's on loan until he does come on the pitch each week. But yeah, looks been an absolutely fantastic 10 years or whatever so now from him to Adelaide, Sydney FC and City as well.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats to him on a tremendous career. He's played at a few A-League clubs now, and I think had a little stint overseas in Sweden as well. So came back from that, found he's probably his true home at Melbourne City. It's probably where he grew a lot as a footballer, a lot as a leader, and probably a lot as a person as well. And he's played I think 290 A-League games, or close to 300 now. And yeah, he's been instrumental to everything that's happened down there at Melbourne City. You could say he's been the heartbeat of that club for the last 3-4 years. And they've gone back to back now. Premier's plates. They've won a championship, and they get a chance this weekend to send him off with another one.
It's probably a perfect, if he can get another victory this weekend, it's probably the perfect time to step away. But in saying that, you kind of guess that he'd probably still be involved at some capacity with how big an impact he's had at the club. But we'll see in the coming weeks and months. But A-League top 10 breakout stars from this season. So this is coming from the A-League. So Kaltak, Neuenhoff, Triantis, Jelicic, Irakunda, Bodic, Boss, Jovanovic, Simmons and Drew. Who's your pick? Or did they miss someone out that you think deserved to be on that top 10 list of the breakout stars of the 2022-23 season?
Yeah, look, there's that's a pretty good list. Yeah, I don't know. I think Aidan O'Neill probably had his a breakout season for him, and he's going to get a move overseas. Kaltak was tremendous this year. He's an older boy, so I don't know. I guess it is his breakout season. He's been fantastic.
Overage student.
He's done a couple extra years, hasn't he? But yeah, look, he's had a tremendous season. Max Ballard at Central Coast Mariners in the midfield. I think he's had a tremendous season as well. So he can count himself unlucky not to be included in that top 10. But yeah, look, it's a pretty solid top 10. I don't know. What about yourself?
Look, if I had to, and like I said, I think we could have a 15 or a top 20, like you just said, including the likes of Ballard and there's plenty of others that we could have mentioned. But look, for me, if I had to pick one, if I had to go hand on heart with, I suppose, what they've done this year, and I suppose I'd have to go with Geordie Boss. I think it'd be tight between him and Triantis. I think Triantis, considering he was a bit player at his previous club, but this year he's become an absolute titan at the centre of the heart of defence for a team that finished second and overachieved as far as the pundits go, as well as potentially could be the champions if they get past City on the weekend. I think he's had a brilliant year, so I give him my runners-up. But I think for me, Geordie Boss has gone. He smashed the record for the highest transfer fee going overseas. He didn't look out of place at all playing in a star-studded City team as well as with the Socceroos. So I think this kid's got a huge future. So for me, if I had to lock one in, I'd probably say him. I know Irukunda, the same thing, but I think Carl Veit's probably affected him by not giving him a chance to start a few games and, and prove that he can. And I think he's kind of got that, Qual sort of tag as well, where we know he's unbelievably talented, but he didn't get a chance to show us a little bit more. So for me, I'm still wanting to see more from him. So yeah, for me, I'd lock in Geordie Boss.
Yeah, look, I can't argue against that. He's been tremendous all year. He's. We just spoke about Scott Jamieson retiring, and maybe Geordie Boss and the effect that he's had on him. Nurturing him into that left back position, but he's probably almost pushed Jamo out of that spot this season. So yeah, he's been tremendous. He gets his reward with a move overseas, and now we just hope that he goes over. He plays as much football as he can with his new club. I think it's KBC Westerlo. So let's see how he goes, and we wish him all the best.
Mate, maybe City threw in Jamo as well. Maybe he's hanging the boots up. Maybe he's going up as his sidekick or his golf partner or something. Maybe that's a new experience for good old Jamo. Maybe he's going across and it's a 2-for-1 for the Belgium club, picking up both City left fullbacks.
Look, I think I've heard here that Jamo is probably going to stay on and at a coaching capacity somewhere at Melbourne City, but he might be Jordan Boss's one-on-one coach that he calls up every now and then.
Mate, moving on to something even tougher, A-League, 10 of the best signings. So I'll throw them at you. Borrello, Zawada, Tulio, Berisha, Marcelo, Triantis, Mack, Kaltak, Neuenhoff, Yalisic. Who is the best buy? And do we miss anyone who you think was a sensational signing? Is there anyone that you think that A, missed that list, or B, could be the signing of the year, or do you think it's in that list there?
I think it's in that list. I think Brandon Borrello. I think he was, he changed the way the Wanderers, I guess, they played this year. He was, aggressive up front, and he added that extra dimension to his game, which was scoring goals. So I think he was, for me, he was a signing of the year in terms of how much he actually impacted a team. But yeah, look, Zawada was great as well. He banged in goals for Wellington, but he didn't quite take him to that next level. I think Borrello really elevated his own game, but he also elevated the game of those around him as well.
Yeah, I reckon it would have come down probably to the final 100 metres or the last couple of furlongs if Zawada hadn't had his child, which is more important than anything else. So, but if he'd stayed and hadn't, missed a few games and then came back and he looked like he missed a beat, it would have come down to the final few furlongs, and I think it would have been neck and neck. It could have been a photo finish, and who knows, maybe the Phoenix finish higher up the table and they end up getting themselves into a semi. But I think, based on the fact that they fell over a little bit short, they pretty much got into the finals, and then they were just a slight speed hump that someone ran over the top and got past. I think for me, I'd go Borrello with Zawada not far behind, but I also think that I reckon Van der Veen with 6 goals and 6 assists is unlucky not to have beaten Berisha into the side. And I also think if he'd gone a little bit earlier, McGarry, we had 3 very important goals for the Mariners. It's got them into the position where they were finished top 2, as well as get themselves into a final, and probably Beavers as well at the Glory. I think he had a really good season as well. But look, when we're talking about multiple players, it means it's been a really great season. It means there's been a lot of quality coming in, and we just hope that continues next season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We always want the league to attract, quality players, both, international players and Australian players, whether that's players returning, Aussie players returning from overseas, like your Brandon Borrellos, or and your Matt Leckies, or if it's international players that have played at a high level and still have that drive and that desire in them to come out and prove themselves in the A-League.
Yeah, look, I think if anything, for players that are over there or players considering leaving, yes, it's a great opportunity. But look at Borrello, right? He's come back and he's probably the best I've seen him play, including when he was overseas. So it goes to show, right, wherever you are, if you're playing well, it doesn't matter the opposition, the team you're in. If you are at the peak of your powers, then you can stand out. And he's definitely done that and put himself back in the mix for Socceroos, and also an opportunity. I hear Zawada, there's interest in Holland now. So he's had 1 year here, bounced off the Phoenix, and maybe he doesn't last his second season. Maybe he ends up in Holland, which was obviously the plan for him, and he deserves it. He's had a fantastic year. He's been great for the league. He's been exciting for the fans, and he's definitely given us, a lot of enjoyment. So look, we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But Aussies abroad, Awir Mabil celebrated winning the Czech First Division with his team Sparta Prague. Garen Quoll come off the bench to score his first goal in Scotland to snatch a 2-2 draw against Rangers. Ryan McGowan also on the score sheet in Scotland as St Johnstone and Kilmarnock drew 3-3. And Aaron Moy and Ange Postecoglou added a second Scottish title after defeating Aberdeen 5-0 with an impressive treble still in their sights.
Yeah, wow. Look, a lot happening in Scotland, isn't there, for the Aussie lads? Good to see Garang Kuol finally get his goal. He's had a bit of a tough time, and he'd be the first to admit it. I think he had an interview after the game saying, it's been tough, but at the same time, he feels that he's probably learned a lot and grown a lot as a footballer, which at that age is important. So happy to see him finally get on the score sheet and finally get a little bit of reward for, the tough times he's had to go through, at the second half of this season after moving across from Central Coast. So good to see that.
You
Huge for
could be
Celtic.
confused. You could be confused, couldn't you, Josh, for thinking now we've got the A League, the B League coming in. This is the S League, right? Because this has got a lot of Aussies in there too. So we might start getting confused. Is the S League in between the A League and the B League, or is it slightly above the A League?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'll tell you what. I don't know. Sydney beat Celtic when they came out here, didn't they? So
They did indeed.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But hats off to Ange and what he's done with that squad. Back to back championships with Celtic. And yeah, they're just I guess we'll probably talk about this a bit later as well. But your boys Spurs, on the sniff and looking out. They're hunting down Ange Postecoglou apparently. So we'll see what happens and in these next coming couple of weeks and into the transfer season.
Mate, I'm happy to offer up instead they can take Harry Kewell, right? Because Harry Kewell, everything he touched in coaching before, unbelievable player, one of the best of all time for the Socceroos and absolute freak of nature at Leeds in particular and then Liverpool. But his coaching, not so great. But even he's gone across there and with Ange having him on his back, it's like carrying an extra weight in the cup. He's still got home with him on there. So it goes to show, right, no matter what you throw at Ange, he's still going to get the goods done.
Oh, he's unbelievable. He must have some sort of connection with the players, or look at the crowd before the game. When he first signed at Celtic, they were booing him. Who's this bloke? Never heard of him. Fat managers come to who is he? What's going on? And now look at him. They absolutely adore him. And hats off to him for what he's been able to achieve there. What he's been able to achieve as an Australian coach. It's not easy being an Aussie overseas, and he's paving the way for a lot of other Aussie managers to go over there and do the same thing now.
Mate, when you say it's not easy for Aussies overseas, it's easy for your son Giannis when he was in France because every TV camera, every person wanted to grab him. So, look, there is some exceptions to the rule. Now, Ange and Giannis are the two exceptions that we've seen. But, look, we'll see what happens and where he ends up. He's apparently they're going to offer him to be the highest paid Celtic coach of all time. But there is a lot of clubs that are obviously hunting and rightfully so. Talking of English football, Luton's 31-year PL wait ends after defeating Coventry 6-5 on penalties. So devastating for Coventry, who've also had a long wait. But they're the first club to go from fifth tier to the top flight in the Premier League era. What a fantastic achievement. But it would have been a heart attack waiting for both sides, right? When you go down to penalties and you're waiting that long, right? You're not waiting a year or two. You're waiting 31 years for them. And Coventry, I don't know, would have been equally as long.
Yeah, Coventry haven't been in the league since I was about 2 years old, I reckon. So
okay,
it's so, yeah, but look, phenomenal game. It's that game, the pressure surrounding it, the players are under extreme stress. It's always chaotic. There's always it's back and forth. There's always a mistake about. So for the game to go to extra time and then get to penalties and to lose 6-5, I think commentators curse. I think the player that took the last pen and missed for Coventry, I think he's played over 200 games for him, and the commentator said 200 games and never scored a goal, and it's 201 games and never scored a goal now. But the poor bloke, it's just devastating. But that's just the way these games always end. It's heartbreak for one and elation for the others. And God, a few Premier League teams are going to get a shock when they have to go to Luton's ground next season.
They've only got 10,000 people, but look, maybe for the wrong reasons, they'll be able to dig up that patch of the penalty spot like they did for for Milner, that Liverpool, I don't know if you saw, Liverpool had dug up that little bit of the penalty spot and said to him, look, mate, we've been looking after the penalty spot you've been hammering for the last few years at Liverpool. Here you go, start looking after your own. But maybe the Coventry player will get his own to look after, and maybe it will haunt him for the rest of his days. But PL news, as we've doing the show a little bit earlier this week, the game's tomorrow morning, everything to play for and who will complete the great escape. Everton sit on 33, who welcome Bournemouth. Leeds on 31, host Spurs, and Leicester on 31, clash with West Ham. So as we know, Southampton are already gone. So 2 of those 3 teams will be joining them. So not easy for anyone there, but considering Everton have got 2 points lead on the other 2 and a better for and against, I think, and they're playing Bournemouth, who have had a good season but have little to play for, you'd expect that they'd probably squeeze through. But funny things have happened, and I think there'll be lots of different chopping and changing and lots of different emotions for all fans included. Tomorrow morning, I think it's 1:30 our time, but look, we wish all 3 teams all the best of luck.
Yeah, look, it's going to go down to the wire again. Yeah, some big games. Leeds, Tottenham, Leicester, West Ham, and Everton, Bournemouth. I think we spoke about this. I think Everton probably have the most favourable, game out of that. But football's a funny game. Anything can happen when players are under pressure and under stress. Mistakes happen, but yeah, it's going to be interesting if you're up at 1:30 watching. There's going to be plenty happening. It's going to be absolute roller coaster. Couple of hours.
Won't be for the faint-hearted, but we'll wait and see. Player escape room, we're joined for a chat by one of the standout players of the Women's A-League season, Western United's goal-scoring machine, Hannah Keane. We preview the grand final between Melbourne City and Central Coast Mariners. And is there anything I didn't see? VIG.
Look, I don't really want to talk about this, but we've got to touch on the Bundesliga, don't we?
Oh,
Overnight.
yeah, I've got that as my what the foot as well. So, yeah, let's touch on it quickly, and then we'll get to it a little bit later as well. But
yeah. Look, Bayern win their 11th title in a row. Despair for Dortmund. Absolute, just a disaster day for Dortmund and the yellow wall.
Yeah, look, we'll touch on it a little bit later in our clinical finish. But, I'm still getting over it. It'll give me at least another 10 minutes or something to be able to compose myself after our disaster. But my weekly wrap has been replaced by a shout-out dedicating a weekly song to a team or a player for their good or bad performance. This week's shout-out goes to Celtic FC, but more importantly, former Socceroos coach Ange Postecoglou for winning his 2nd consecutive Scottish Premiership title and leaves them the chance to claim the treble if they can defeat Inverness in the Scottish Cup final. And the song we send to him is Dirty Tricks' appropriate track, Groundbreaking.
Sound making, the music that we're making you is groundbreaking. She said we've been held back ages. One day we're gonna sell out stages. We just sound making, the music that we're making you is groundbreaking. She said we've been held back ages. One day we're gonna sell out stages. We just sound making.
Yeah, look, it has been groundbreaking for him, as you touched on a little bit earlier. He's breaking ground all the time. I know we've got Joe Montemuro at Juventus, doing great things in the women's game, and we've had, a few others having a crack here, there, and everywhere. But when it comes down to it, he's the Michael Jordan at the moment of Australian coaches. He's ripping it up. He was getting a bad rap, but he did a good job in Japan, but so could everybody apparently. But Muskie's gone and followed suit over there and done great things in Japan. So it looks like it won't be long before he starts breaking into some of the bigger leagues around the world. But Ange definitely in every conversation he's there being discussed at taking over a Premier League vacancy or somewhere else in the world. So look, he deserves every bit of fortune he gets. And I think, as I've said previously, he's definitely a club coach because of the fact that when you play, for the national team, you're stuck with the players you have. And if you don't have a holding centre midfielder, you don't have, a tall striker, then you're stuffed. But with him, when he buys or takes a team and he can go and buy the players what he wants, and he doesn't spend a fortune, he just buys the right players and he plays a brilliant brand of football. So congratulations, Ange. I was fortunate enough before we qualified for the previous World Cup to have had a chat with him after the game, and he's a fantastic guy, and I think he deserved a lot better than the rubbish he was getting from the media here and giving him a hard time. And I think the last laugh is on them, as well as some of those Celtic fans that were giving a hard time, and the other Scottish pundits, including Sutton and all these guys who said he can't make it and he's got no clue what he's doing. But I think the last laugh was on him, and I'm very happy for him and his family, so all the best.
Look, I've just got to echo those words and, congratulate him again. Tremendous. What he's done over there is just absolutely tremendous. And like I said, he's paving the way for other Aussie coaches to go over there and players as well. And Ange has that mentality that, you've got to wipe that stigma away that you're Australian. When people see Australians playing football, they raise an eyebrow sometimes, but Ange he's absolutely deleting that stigma from top to bottom, and he's doing a fantastic job at it. And look at the players that he's brought over. He's brought over players from the J League. He brought Aaron Moy into that squad, who was a bit out of it at the start of the season. It took him a while to settle, but he's gone on and been a real influential player for that team. Aaron Moy has. So hats off to what Ange has been able to get out of him, especially at his age now. But he's gone and brought these Japanese players over who are technically brilliant, right? And they've absolutely just carved up the Scottish League. They're just they've got the ball on a string. They can run. They're physical as well. So hats off to him, like you said, when he's able to bring in the players that he wants to play the style of football that he wants. He generally gets the player spot on.
That's fantastic to see. Let's get into our grand final review. So with no revolutionised roundup this week because of the break and no games. So it's first v second, as we said. City finishing 11 points clear of the Mariners. City have scored slightly more goals and conceded slightly less this season than the Mariners, but there's not a lot in it. They've played 35 times if you're a stats man like you, VIG. City winning 16 times, Mariners 11 and 8 draws. And so far this season, they've had a 1-1 draw on the coast, and then City won 1-0, a close game at home. So there's not much in it. I know there was 11 points that separated the two at the end of the season, but I think it's not as big as it actually seems. I think it was a lot closer race than that. One stage we were saying Adelaide could have even pinched them with about 6 games to go, but then City did steady themselves, and I think the Mariners did go through a little period where they were kind of a little bit off colour. But look, let's have a quick look at this, VIG. So Melbourne City last week played a 4-1-4-1 formation. So they had Glover, Reyes, Lamb, Good and Boss. So 4 across the back. Aidan O'Neill playing as a number 6 at the back of their as a CDM. And then they played a 4-man midfield with Naboot, Barisha, Leckie and Tilio, with McLaren up front leading the line. So will they change their formation to include Berregay and Van der Veen, who have played not only in the first leg against Sydney, but have played a lot during the season? Or do you see them playing with that, where there's a good amount of defence there, but that also it's quite attacking when you've got, like I said, the likes of Naboo, Barisha, Leckie, Tilio and McLaren in your forward line?
Yeah, look, I think they've gone that 4-1-4-1 probably to fit in Naboo, Leckie, Tilio and McLaren. If they go back to the more traditional sort of 4-3-3 that they sometimes play as well, that pushes Leckie wide, Tilio wide, McLaren through the middle. It probably means Naboo misses out potentially, and potentially Van der Veen comes in or Berenguer into that midfield. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they'll probably stick with that again. Depending on fitness of players, but I'm tipping everyone will be fit and ready to go. So I think they'll probably go the same way.
Yeah, look, I'd bring in Van der Veen if that was me, and I'd play Leckie out wide. That's just the way it is. And I think there's a distorted version of what happened last week, considering they played with against 10 men for a large chunk of the game when Maxi Burgess got sent off. So I don't really think you can see if their formation worked or didn't work. So. Yeah. Now they're going to go in blind, I think kind of blind because it's not their usual formation, but Van der Veen came off the bench and scored a goal and he's been excellent this year. Berenguer is always, so dangerous and I think he feeds very well. I think Naboot's a luxury they can have off the bench, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, look, I think personally, I think Leckie is probably more effective out wide. It's more natural for him. He's played the majority of his career when he's sort of in a bit, sort of behind McLaren. It's not as natural for him. Doesn't have as much space to break in behind the defense and really break those lines. But look, I don't know. Either way, when I'm looking at that the squad on paper and the attacking weapons that they have, it's going to be a tough task for the Mariners.
Yeah, looking at the Mariners, a lot of the time they've lined up with a 4-4-2. So Vukovic in goals. Then the back line of the 4 men in the back line is Storm Rowe, Triantis, Kaltak and McGarry. So the centre pairing there don't need any introduction. They've been in every award so far towards the end of the season, rightfully so. And McGarry's been a fantastic signing and Storm has been a quiet achiever. He's been excellent this year. Their 4-man midfield is Nkololo, Silvera, and in the centre, the dynamic duo of Nisbet and Ballard. And up front, the unpredictable Marco Tullio, as well as the enigmatic Jason Cummings. So a really good lineup there too, and you'd be expecting that's how they would line up on the weekend heading into this clash. Do you see anything different for them, or you think that's how it's going to be? Pretty much very similar lineups to what they both fielded in the second leg of the semi-finals.
Yeah, look, I think they'll go with the exact same lineup. The only one, the joker card, I guess you could throw in is maybe a Christian Theoharis. I think he's been pretty good off the bench, but maybe you want to keep it that way. But Tulio and Cummins up top. Tulio's been fantastic. Cummins, he's still scoring goals. And I think that four midfield, Encololo, Nisbet, Ballard, and Silvera will stay the same. And I think the backline will stay the same as well with Danny Vukovic in goals.
All right, tell us now, who do you like? Who's going to take home the chockies, and where's the game won or lost?
Oh God, it's a difficult one. I don't know. I just feel like the final in Sydney. I'm hoping a lot of Central Coast fans travel down. It's going to be very, very close. I don't think I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a blowout in this one. Like I said, I think they had a 1-1 draw, and City won 1-0 down in Melbourne. So I think it's going to be tight. I've got a feeling this one's potentially going extra time and penalties, and literally flip a coin. I'm going to go with Central Coast. I don't know why. I just got a feeling. They've been great all year. City have been great. They've won the Premier's Plate. They've had a tough outing against Sydney up here, and then they went down, and the second semi-final was obviously a lot easier for them playing against 10 men. So I don't know. You can never write them off with the quality they have, but I've just got a feeling it's going to go to penalties, and Central Coast are going to win.
All right, I'm going to jump on you there too. I'm going to go for Mariners. Mine's a couple of simple reasons. If City go with that lineup, I don't think it's the right lineup for them. I also feel that at the moment that Serge and Monty are pulling the strings, and I just think they're doing a better job off the pitch, guiding the team and making the right changes than I think Vidicic, and that's nothing against him. I think if PK was there, I think that also goes against the Mariners. So I think that's a big swing. And I also feel that, they've won something this year. The Mariners have come so close, so for them to bomb out now would mean they've walked away so close yet so far and won nothing. So I think for them, there's just that little bit more incentive for them to get the job done. I also think it helps that a lot of people are complaining that the game's played in Sydney and that they don't get a home ground final, but I don't think the Mariners are complaining at all. I think they've had 7 away wins this year, beating Adelaide twice in Adelaide. So I think they're a good team away from home. This year, I think from memory, City have probably had more draws away from home than they have anything else. So I don't think they're great travellers the way things are going. So for me, I think being in Sydney, even though it's not at a Mariners game, I think the coaches as well as the formation all play into the hands of the Mariners. So yeah, I believe in a very close game and hopefully a really enjoyable one that the Mariners will take the victory here. But look, yeah, we wish both teams all the best, and we hope it's a cracking game and it's a cracking spectacle for the A-League.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I just hope it's a cracking game, cracking spectacle. The difference for me, the one player that I think can really make the difference in a tight game is Danny Vukovic in goals. I think he could have it. He's going to have a lot to do regardless. City are going to throw everything at him. They're potent in attack. They've got players up top that you got J-Mac, Lecky, Naboo, Tilio. They're going to cause troubles for that Mariners backline, and I think the Mariners backline have been tremendous all year. But I think Danny Vukovic, if he has a good game, he could be the man. He could be my man of the match.
All right. Well, we'll know probably this time Saturday night. But yeah, fantastic game and very exciting, and we just can't wait. Up after the break, we welcome to the Player Escape Room Western United's Golden Boot winner Hannah Keane.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Joining us now in the Player Escape Room is a star striker that has set the A-League women's competition alight this season. Please welcome to the show Western United's Golden Boot winner Hannah Keane. Hi Hannah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How are you? It's been a few weeks since the grand final and you're back in the US visiting family. What have you been up to?
Good. Just relaxing, taking a rest. It was a tough season. I'm still not super happy about losing in the grand final, but I think it's starting to sink in a little bit more about how successful of a season we did have just by making it to that grand final. So I feel good, feel relaxed, but I'm already thinking about in every workout I have right now winning that grand final next season. So it's great motivation.
Look, it was a remarkable season. In your team's debut season, you finished just 1 point behind Premier Sydney FC, were first into the grand final, and personally, you claimed the Golden Boot. What milestones did you set yourself when you arrived at Western United? Was it that high? Was it that high? Pretty much a grand final, almost a minor premiership, and the leading scorer of the competition.
I think it's a fine line between having goals that are attainable and then also not jinxing yourself by saying, "Oh, we have to make it to the grand final," and that's all we think about. But at the beginning, we did make a goal setting kind of meeting that we made individual goals and team goals. And individually, I just wanted to score more than 10 goals. I think I knew I could do more than that, so I was probably setting the bar a little bit low, but I think after not having made it into the A League last time I was in Australia in 2016, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder that I wanted to prove to everyone that I should have been in the league. So I think just to kind of show who I was as a player was my main goal and to see what the league had missed out on in 2016. And I'm happy that I was able to get the golden boot. But more importantly, it helped our team get pretty far and I mean, almost as far as you can possibly go. So hopefully we can just do it all again next season.
Yeah, look, in 2016, it goes to show even the best get it wrong when current Juventus and former Melbourne City coach Joe Montemuro let you slip through his fingers. It's not too late, Joe. I hear Hannah would be keen on a touring experience. So, mate, you can always reach out. It's not too late for you to go there and say that you got it wrong. But um, Joe is gone, but was it nice to finally play in the league and prove that you're an exceptional player? They're my words, not yours.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we can never really know what would have happened if I had made the Melbourne City squad in 2016, but I think the places that I've been since then have definitely shaped me into a much better player. And so I almost wouldn't change what has happened. I mean, it's unfortunate, but there's still that goes to show there's lots more out there that can happen even if you don't make it on one team at one moment.
Things happen for a reason. But have you enjoyed living in Australia? I know you were here briefly in 2016, but this is probably pretty much a first full season or first full year in Australia. Have you enjoyed Australia and Melbourne in general?
Yeah, I really have. I think the first time I was here, I was a lot younger, a little bit fresh out of college, and didn't really know the world like I do now. So I see things a bit differently, but I've really loved it. The people are so kind. The Western Club, everyone around it has been so welcoming and helped me with anything that I ever needed help with. And the culture is great. I think that it's nice because it's not too different from America, but it's just enough different where you can tell that you're obviously very far away from America and you can tell the thinking is a little bit different in some things and I really enjoy it and that's why I'm signed again because I didn't want to leave just yet.
So you're also balancing art, photography, and I know that's huge in Melbourne. Did that play into your hands as well? I know there would have been multiple clubs that were interested in you in Australia, but was that a big reason going to Melbourne that you also knew the art and the photography scene's also huge?
I actually didn't really think about that too much when I first decided to sign with Western. But I think after exploring around the city a bit more, I realized what kind of hub it is for art, and I really enjoyed it. And they've got some of the best murals and just artworks around the city that you don't even know are there until you walk down like this little alley, and then there's a huge 3-story flower face just painted right in front of you and it's great. I'm hoping to do a lot more in that. I think I was a bit overwhelmed just the first season and a lot of pressure and it was a little bit hard to do much outside of soccer in the art area, but I think now that I'm more experienced and have been there before, I think I'm going to dig a lot more into doing more on the side with art.
I'll go one step further and say now you're a star of the league. You can do a little bit more art, a little bit more photography, and a little bit more of what you want to do. So we'll put it that way. I think that's probably more accurate. But look,
Okay.
it's no doubt you're a star on the pitch. But what has impressed me most is just how damn nice you are off it. You know, I'm always seeing you helping people, taking photos with fans, and volunteering at Melbourne's Second Chance Animal Rescue. Where does the kindness come from? Is it someone in the family? Is it just something that was built in you? Is it something? Does it come from somewhere else?
Um, I mean, I guess you would have to start with my parents. I mean, they're the ones that raised me, and I think my parents are very nice, but I mean, I don't think I would be able to think any different. But I don't know, I just find that being nice, like, there's no reason not to be. Um, just I don't see there's no other reason to not be nice. I mean, it doesn't help me in any way to not be nice. It doesn't help anyone else. So I think just the world would be better if everyone was a little bit nicer and maybe didn't take things so personally every single time. And it's just, I don't know where it comes from. I guess it's just my personality, but I found that it works well for me and I like to see other people happy. So if they're happy, then I'm pretty happy.
Look, I think the world would be a lot better place if we had a few more Hannah Keanes, and we'd have a few better football clubs as well, right? There'd be a lot better teams and probably more goals scored. So we can always wish for that. But talking of the Second Chance Animal Rescue, how many animals have you tried to take home with you? Is there a large lot? Have you?
Oh my god. I every single time that I was in there volunteering, I was just like, this little kitten could fit into my pocket and that's no one would know and that's just how it would be. But yeah, unfortunately one of my teammates that I was living with is allergic to cats, so I was unable to take any home. But I don't know what my living situation will be next season. And if I'm by myself or with someone that's not allergic to animals, I'm definitely fostering an animal. So, like, taking care of an animal until it gets adopted by someone else. Because I think if I truly adopted an animal, it would be really hard to bring back to America and take care of while we were traveling for our games. But I'll definitely be more involved next season. But
Okay,
the animals were
that might be
amazing.
Weston's plan, right? If you get you to have an animal or a pet that you can't take home, maybe you stay long term, right? So maybe you've given them some ideas, right? Let's take this back
Well,
to the boardroom now and start mixing it up in there.
you just gave them the idea, so thanks a lot.
You're more than what I'm just trying to help out Australian football fans. That's all I'm trying to do here. We're trying to keep you here long term.
Well, that will work. That's a great plan.
You've scored a bag full of goals in Portugal when you were at Braga, and you were the leading scorer this season. How have you never featured in the national team at any level for the USA?
Um, I mean, the USA is big. They've got a lot of players to pick from, and I think I wasn't great in college. I didn't enter the draft to get into the American League. Um, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it's just how it goes. I think also not playing in America, it's a little bit harder to get the attention of the national team and the coaches, and they, for the most part, have their favorites, and that's just how the U.S. national team system works. But I'm not complaining. I've loved my career. I've loved where I've gone and who I've played for in the leagues that I've been in. So I'm not too sad or mad about it at all. Of course, if anyone wants to call me and invite me to a camp, I'm very happy to go. But it's not it's not on my do or die list that I must get to.
Yeah,
I'm just
I think
happy
they're
to be
nuts.
playing.
Yeah, I think they're nuts. They should have given you a call up by now and just see what you can do, right? Like you're a goal scorer. There's a lot of good players in the US, but there's always room for another good striker that scores goals who's super nice, right? So it's probably a no-brainer. But any which way, look, fingers crossed that a call comes before the end of your career. But can you go one better next season?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm still kicking myself over the probably 15 or 20 chances that I messed up on in the season. And just knowing that I had those chances and I didn't score, I mean, I know that they're there and maybe next season I'll do a little bit better to score more, but I definitely think it's doable. We made the chances and it was just on me to that I didn't finish them. So the chances are there and hopefully I just do better to take them next season.
So let's get into the first game I like to play with our guests, which is called Six Aside, where I'll ask you six questions comparing you and your Western United teammates. But I will put a slightly different spin on it. So you can select any of your teammates instead of the usual matchups that I give. And that way it makes it a little bit fairer for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Who is the most likely to pick up a team bill? So if you went out for breakfast or lunch and someone was going to pick up the whole bill, who's most likely?
Uh, Probably Chloe Lagarzo or Jess McDonald.
Okay. Are they both very generous?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
they
just got a
are.
lot of money? Either way, right?
Both.
Okay. Who's least likely? Is there someone that you could say that more than likely, if a bill came up, they'd take a phone call or they'd be leaving to go to the bathroom or something? Is there someone that you could throw under the bus or prefer not to?
No, I really think there actually isn't anyone that would do that. Our team is too great. I've never been on any team that the people, like every single person, is nice. I mean, usually I can pick out a few that I stay away from or don't want to be around that much, but it's very surprising.
You found your home.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Who would do the best job minding my kids and my two labs?
Oh, probably Alex Sinclair. She's
Okay.
the team mom. She's just the biggest heart. She's probably 100 times nicer than me, which might be hard to say, but
It's scary.
it's very yeah.
Someone
She's the
100
best.
times nicer than you.
Yeah.
I think the dogs would be a lot easier than the kids, but if she's happy to do the job, then I'm happy to lock her in, right? Always
Oh,
always do someone you can trust with, right?
yeah, she loves kids. It's great.
Right, awesome. We'll lock her in. Who has the best dress sense?
Ooh. We've got a lot of very stylish people on our team.
Okay, is anyone you look
I'd
at and say, I'd like to be them, the way they dress? Is it that makes it easier for you, doesn't it?
I think it's a little bit difficult because a lot of times our training it's very early in the morning, so people just roll up in pajamas and sweats. But then every once in a while, TJ Vlanich, she is like she'll wear normal clothes and everyone's just like, "Oh my gosh, TJ, wow, you look so different." And she does have very good style. But there's definitely a few people on the team that can dress very well.
Who gets noticed most on the street?
Oh, Chloe, definitely.
Yeah, does fans always coming up asking for autographs?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think being on the Matildas and then also working a lot with Under Armour, her face is just on store windows and it's amazing. It's great. And she's so nice about it too. So definitely go up if you see her ever.
You may have flown under the radar this year, but being Golden Boot winner and being in a lot of promos for the grand final this year and so on, I think next year you might be getting a few people coming asking you. So get ready to sign a few autographs and pat a few kids on the head and do a few things. So
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, but I just hope they use some other people's pictures next time because
yeah, I know you maybe don't want the attention, but you deserved it. So unfortunately, you just have to wear it, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Who is the most high maintenance?
Ooh.
I know this puts you in trouble, but look, the good news is by the time you get back from the US, they would have forgotten about this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would say, ooh, maybe TJ again. But I mean,
It comes with
it's
style,
not,
right?
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, she works for it and it looks good. So everything she does is great. Yeah, I'd say TJ and then maybe Franny. There's a few people, but I think overall we don't have anyone that's a huge high maintenance. They're pretty all down to earth and just do what they like to do.
That was safe with TJ because you've already given her a massive compliment, right? Being the best dressed, and now you've also said she's the high maintenance, so it negates itself, right? So, see, not only smart on the pitch, but smart off the pitch as well. Bravo to you, Hannah. And who would make the best Hollywood actress? Considering you're from the US, you'd know a bit about the acting world, and you maybe did some a bit before at college or before you went to college. And
Oh, definitely not. But I would say at least the one person that would have the most experience with that would be Hillary Beale because she's from LA. She's basically in the movies already. I think she would be a good Hollywood actress. She can do the drama in the best way, not in a bad way. Like,
so what about you? If you were going to get called up now that you're starting to become a big star, if you got called up to do something in a movie, what sort of genre movie would you want to be in? Is there a particular type of movie?
I think I would have to do action and just lots of running around and like acrobatic stuff and no like close up, very intense emotional scenes because I would probably just laugh. So definitely action. I'll jump through windows, I'll jump off buildings. I can do that part, but I don't know about the actual drama up close stuff.
Look, I don't know how that will go in your Western United contract, but if you do get a call up from them, just give me a mention. That's all I want. Just mention me in the credits or something, and we both win, right?
Sounds good.
All right, you passed that with flying colours. Let's get into the second game I like to play, which is 1-2. You give us your thoughts on the following topics. If you have any problems, I'll jump in and try and help you out if I can.
Okay.
What song best describes you? You can sing or say a few lines if I don't know what the song is, and maybe I'll lie and tell you I don't know it anyway, just so we can hear you sing.
Oh no, you don't want that. I would break all the ears and microphones of
Okay.
everyone. I'm probably the most tone deaf person you've ever met, so I do not sing.
You can't be good at
Let's
everything, Hannah. All right, so we found a
yeah,
weakness, right?
true. Um, oh, what song do I really um
Is there something you listen to if you're training at the gym or if you're going for a walk or something? Is there one that you listen to on the train or anything in the car?
yeah, the problem is I listen to every single different genre of music and it's solely based off of how I'm feeling in the moment. So, I mean, I don't have like a top 3 favorite songs in the whole world because it changes probably every other week. But I guess like a classic one that I do like to listen to before games and kind of motivational is Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Becoming more Australian by the second. See, we're a big hope here of keeping you here long term.
I mean, that one's been on my list for years, so maybe that was just a sign that it was meant to be. But
I think so.
yeah, I don't know. I love it. It definitely always gets me into the zone for a hard training or for a game. And
Great pump up
like
song,
I
isn't
love
it?
yeah.
All right, your coach, Mark Picasso.
Great person. It was really funny when I first was trying to come to Australia. I called my old NPL coach that I had in 2016 and just asked him if he had any kind of insides to the A League and any coaches. And he was like, "Okay, Mark is going to call you in 5 minutes." And then, and then he called me like probably less than 5 minutes. But yeah, and we had a great conversation and I really liked everything he told me about Western, what they were building and trying to create. So I think he's a great person. He definitely laughs at me when I talk about gardening and doing anything with the animals. He's just like, "You're so strange." And yeah, it's great.
You're so
Um,
strange, but you score so many goals for us, so we're just going to put up with it.
yeah, that's probably exactly what he thinks, but it's okay. I think after a little bit I'll be able to get him into the garden and get some more animals around him and he'll see the way. He will.
Look, he's proven not only he's a good coach, but he's proven he's super smart, right? Because he got you in, so he's proven he's a good recruiter and he's a good coach. But was it a bit
Yeah.
scary coming to a club which was in their debut season? So it's probably the first for you. Like, there's not a lot of clubs you go to where there's no history or no tradition before you're rocking up and everything's ground zero, right?
True. And I think Mark also did a very good job of reassuring me that even though it was the first season that they were recruiting people that he thought would be very good and would obviously help me on the field and help me off the field and he was very excited about all of it and I think just having that reassurance was very nice. But I'd also seen what their men had done as a relatively very new team and in their third year winning the grand final. And so I knew they knew what to do and what to do to be successful. So I was just a little bit putting my faith into them being able to do that again with the women and they got very close. So and I mean, we got to the grand final in our first season, so that's even probably a bit better than what the men did. But I'm excited to see where the club and the team goes in the long term, even if I'm not here. But
So
we'll see.
Who will the USA play in this year's Women's World Cup final?
Oh, That's assuming that they'll get to the final.
Speaking on your behalf, you can always tell me the 2 teams you think will make it.
I think if the US does win, it'll be very, very, very difficult. There's so many good teams now, and I think US used to be so far ahead of everyone, but now the other teams have definitely caught up. So I think the Matildas are doing really well. They've surprised me the last year or so. But I don't know. England just also seems so strong, and Germany and Canada's been okay too. It's so difficult. But we'll just say if the US do go, it'll probably be like Australia or England or Germany. One of those 4 will for sure win it, probably.
Nice choices. Have you got tickets to some of the games?
No, I don't, because as of right now, I'm not planning on being back by then. Our preseason doesn't start until September. So, but maybe I come back early. I'm not sure. I'm still deciding.
Your family must think how amazing they are, which you've passed up a World Cup to go and do gardening with your dad. What a great daughter.
Yeah, I know. I've thought about it. I don't have a flight just yet, so maybe I'll work on that in the next month or so. I've heard tickets are hard to come by already.
Not
So
for Golden Boot winners. So no, you're fine. Don't worry about that. That's all good. I'm pretty sure someone will find you some tickets, Hannah. Don't worry. You should probably be playing there, but if you're not, we'll take second best and get you some
yeah.
good tickets.
Okay.
Your favourite Western United men's player?
Ooh. That's so hard. I think though, the one that I've talked to the most and I think is very kind is Lockie Wales, and just a very good human and very nice and a good player. So probably Lockie.
Okay, nice. Celebrity crush. Could be male or female, could be a sports star, could be any walk of life.
Ooh. I think maybe David Beckham. He's
Me
just
too.
yeah. Yeah, just the other day I watched like an hour-long highlight reel of just his Manchester United goals, and it was a great hour. It was amazing.
It wasn't as many in a season as you, but he's not bad.
He's not bad. He's not bad at all.
The strangest thing you found in Australia. So it could be a food, it could be a show, it could be a word, it could be something. What's something that you just go, I don't know where this comes from?
There's a lot of words.
Okay.
A lot of words.
Yep.
I think, well, there's a few. So I'll say a few things. The first one was if it's like kind of raining. In America, we would say like, oh, it's sprinkling. But then I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, it's spitting down. And I'm just like, spitting? Like, that's so gross. It's nice water, but spitting down. Like, who says spitting? So that was a bit weird. But I feel like your guys' language is a little bit more, not vulgar in a bad way, but just, you just say a lot of words in America that we think are bad or just would use less amounts of times.
What about food? So is there a particular food here that you've actually really liked that you don't have in the US, but you didn't like and you just thought, I don't know how they eat that?
So Chloe, actually, I think it was on maybe during the grand final weekend in Sydney. I have tried Vegemite before, but I think I did it the wrong way. Like I just put my finger in it and ate it. And like, obviously that's terrible. And then everyone would always say, oh, put Vegemite on toast with butter. But I'm vegan, so I don't eat butter. So it's a little bit different. But Chloe was like, no, the real secret is toast with a thin layer of Vegemite and then smashed avocado on top.
Okay.
And I ate it and it was so good. It was delicious. It was like a really nice salty avocado crunchy mix with the toast.
Okay.
And so now I definitely think I'll eat it more because that combo was really good. And then just the one other thing, which I always have known about, the huntsman spiders, but to have one like run across your windshield while you're driving, it was maybe not the way I would have liked to see one for the first time. But yeah, and then he was in our car for a while. So
I'm pretty sure it wasn't on your bucket list. So let's hope it doesn't happen again, right?
I do like animals, so I didn't try to kill him or anything. And he was mostly he was like on the outside part of the car, but like under, it was like in the trunk of the car, but like not really inside. So he was okay. He was just along for a ride.
It wouldn't surprise me, Hannah, if you went and found the Spider new accommodation or something. I know what you're like, right? You're probably going to find him somewhere new to live and made sure he was well looked after or she looked after, and it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Next time I'll get a tank and grab him and like keep him as a pet, because they're big enough to cuddle. So
Yeah,
might as well.
I'm not a big fan, so yeah, you can keep all the spiders to yourself. I'm fine with that. Something you've always wanted to do but have never tried yet.
I feel like maybe skydiving, but I could also see myself chickening out at the last moment.
Okay.
But just the falling part, I feel like kind of scares me. I don't like those roller coasters at amusement parks that go straight up and then you just fall. But then I've had other people tell me that it's a completely different feeling when you're just free falling through the air. So maybe that.
All right. So if we get a double, if you win the double next year, or you get Golden Boot winner again, can we get you to commit that you're going to do it?
Oh, so scary.
I'll think about it. All right, you just think about it.
I think that's the only way that I would probably actually do something like that, is if I'm forced or made an agreement and have to follow through with it. So yes.
Virtual shake on that, okay?
Yeah. Yes. Sounds good.
The thing that makes you laugh the most?
Currently, I'm watching Ted Lasso, and that makes
fantastic.
me
so
laugh
good.
a lot. I love it. Laughing so much. So Ted Lasso.
You are in season 3 or season 2, or where are you up to?
Season 3.
Okay, me too. I keep falling asleep, so hopefully I'll get to watch it before the end of the year. And final question, best player you've ever played with or against?
Well, against is definitely, I guess, 2 seasons ago now when I was in Spain. We played against Barcelona 3 times. So every single player on Barcelona is the best player I've ever played against.
Did you win any games against them? Even get a draw or something?
Oh no.
Right.
No. They actually just drew and lost for the first time in like 2 years in league play. But we did score a goal against them, even though we lost 5-1. We still got that one. So that was a good achievement, but they're all just on a completely different level. So it's really fun to watch, but a little bit fun to play against, because we did stick with them for a while, but they just outclass you towards the end, and you can't do anything about it except admire it after they've scored a lot. But best player I've played with, that's so hard. I've been on too many teams and good teams to pick one person, but I definitely think that on my team in Spain a couple years ago, there were some really good players. And one of them, her name's Mayra Ramirez. She plays on the Colombian national team, and she was on my team in Spain, and now she's with Levante in Spain. And I think they got 3rd place in the league this season, and she scored like 15 or 16 goals, and a great striker, great forward. I should try to get her to come to Australia now.
Oh, look, I'm pretty sure when I ask a few other players in the future, they're going to say Hannah Keane, but I'll keep you posted and tell you how many people have told me that. But look, I thank you very much for your time. I know it's super early for you over in the US, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time with your family and the gardening and everything else. But we can't wait to get you back, if not for just the start of the women's season next year, but to get you to watch a few of the games in the Women's World Cup. But we thank you very much for your time on the Football Revolution, and we'll check in with you again later in the year.
Sounds good. Thank you. And if you ever want to bring your kids and the dogs to Maine, I can show you how to garden garlic, because we have lots of garlic.
Well, maybe we can add that into the virtual agreement we have.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you very much for your time.
Bye.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Fantastic chatting with talented and kind Hannah Keane. We look forward to watching her again in the Women's A-League next season. Up now is our clinical finish, and you've already touched on this, our first little part of that. BIG, our WTF, our what the foot. Bundesliga torture me again. So Dortmund fans handing Bayern an 11th consecutive title. Dortmund equalised against Mainz in the 96th minute. So we thought, okay, 2-2 might be enough to get us the crown, but an 89th minute winner from Musiala gave Tuchel's men a last gasp 2-1 victory and the crown. So honestly, it'd almost be better if we just came fourth. It's just.
Do we cry? Do we cry now? Do we laugh? What do we do? I don't know.
Oh, you just do your head
that was painful. I stayed up last night to watch it. It was incredibly painful. Just from the get go, you know, the atmosphere, the crowd, the expectation in Dortmund was just incredible.
You missed the pen.
You know, they've got some of the best fans in the world. But yeah, then you know they just absolutely lost it in the first 20 minutes. You know, go 1-0 down. Think they're getting back in the game. They've won a penalty, missed the penalty. You know, Stoffley taken by Haller. You know, you're number 9. You want him to go up there and absolutely bang that in the back of the net, and he's opened his body up and you know side footed it to the goalkeeper, and you know I think a fairly regulation save for the keeper, but. Oh God, I don't know. It's frustrating to watch. They did a lot of good things, but they did a lot of things that left me scratching my head. They were, you know, trying to get the ball out wide, and how many crosses did they whip into the box? And yeah, I don't know. They just sort of it seemed to me like they just sort of ran out of ideas and didn't have a plan B. If they went down and then they went down 1-0, 2-0, they did everything they could in the second half, but it was too little, too late.
Yeah, look, they showed massive nerves, and you don't win 11 consecutive titles because you don't know what you're doing. So it comes with experience, right? And when you haven't won one for forever, it was like it was so far away from us that we just couldn't grab it. And like I said, if last week Bayern hadn't done the unusual for them and trip up, it would have been better if they were leading and we just weren't good enough. But to actually take the lead for the second time in the matter of weeks and then go, okay, we're so close. All we need to do now against an average side is get a victory, and we just bottled it. So look, unfortunately, back to the drawing board. We've already lost Haaland last year. This year, or probably Bellingham and a few others. So look, will be interesting to see how they rebuild. But yeah, look, great effort. But yes, super disappointing. In the final game of the season, one team will be heartbroken and the other will be celebrating long into the night. Combank Stadium in Sydney hosts Vidicic's City versus Monty's Mariners. In a winner takes all battle.
Yeah, look, we've been talking about it all pod. It's a huge game for both sides. Massive for Central Coast, who haven't been here for a long time. I think the last time was when they beat the Wanderers, I think. So maybe that's an omen. It's at the Wanderers' home ground. So who knows? Maybe they can you know, get something out of that. But yeah, Melbourne City. Look, they've been the benchmark for the last 3 seasons. You know, three premiers plates, 1 championship, and they've got a chance now to farewell their club captain in Scott Jamieson with another championship.
Yeah, and we're both tipped against them, so we'll see what happens, and we might have egg on.
Sorry, Jamo.
Saturday night, but yeah, we'll find out soon enough. If you missed any part of the show or you want to listen to other episodes, where can they catch it?
Yeah, they can catch us on all good podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, also up on Football Nation Radio across their platforms, and video up on YouTube.
Good luck to both teams. If you're not going to the game, watch it at home, at a friend's house or at the pub. I'll be there, so I'll be right there cheering everybody on and enjoying the whole atmosphere. We thank our special guest, Hannah Keane, and hope you enjoy the rest of your off-season. We hope you enjoyed the show even half as much as we enjoy bringing it to you, and we look forward to your company again next Tuesday for our A-League show season finale. As we say, rise up and join the football revolution. And until next week, have a great week. Enjoy the final, and we'll catch you then.